Hello, fans, football fans around, and welcome back to Chairback here on YouTube. Doing my 2025 NFL predictions today for the AFC teams. I'll predict the 7 teams I think that will make the playoffs in the order 1 through 7. And we're going to start out with my favorite team, the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Isaiah Pacheco, Chris Jones on defense, and all the other cast members of the Chiefs have a team that last year was the number 1 seed. This year I think they're the number 1 seed, but I think it's going to be a building year for Kansas City, mainly in the offensive line. And I think the offensive line can hurt them this year as a number 1 seed. Even if they do get the number 1 seed at the end of the year, which I think they could get, I think they'd fall back, maybe win 12 games, 13, finish like 13-4 at least. 13-4, I think, is the best record, I think, to get for the AFC. I don't think the best team gets 14 or 15 wins this year, possibly. But could it be Kansas City? Could it be someone else? Yes. But I think the AFC this year is going to be a little bit weaker than normal. Chiefs, as the number 1 seed, I think they're going to have issues with the offensive line. And to compare it to the year after they lost Super Bowl 55 to Tampa Bay, they did not make it back to the Super Bowl that year. They did get the number 1 seed, though. Lost to the Bengals in their border in the AFC Championship game. Overall, I think the Chiefs are one of those teams this year that's going to have to fight for the number 1 seed. No matter what, I don't think it's going to be an interesting way. I think it could be 12 to 13 wins where I think they end up. Still get a number 1 seed out of it. The teams behind them, the 2 teams in second and third, where I think they're going to finish 2 and 3, could get a number 1 seed as well. So it could be either way, I think. It's going to be an interesting race in the AFC to get the number 1 seed, but I think the Chiefs finish it off with 12 or 13 wins this year. They're going to be followed up by the Bills. Josh Allen and the Bills. Bills another one of those teams, I think, just like the Chiefs. Their team, they've made the playoffs over the last few years. For the Bills and Josh Allen, they can beat the Chiefs in the regular season, but they haven't figured out how to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs, and I think that's going to be the biggest question of debate, is will the Bills finally get over the hump and beat Kansas City in the playoffs? I think it could be one of those years where the Bills do get to the playoffs. I do think they can beat Kansas City potentially if they get there, but they might need someone else to do the reckoning for them, and that could be any team in that AFC, I think, that's going to play Kansas City this year. If they do get a rematch in the AFC title game in Kansas City, I think the Chiefs and Bills will play close to wire. I think with the new rules, the new measurement system, I think that's going to be an interesting take as well in this year if they get to play each other in the playoffs. But overall, I do think the Bills finish as a number 2 seed. They could get 1, 2, or 3 as well. After the Bills, I'm going to give you the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson on offense. Ravens, quarterback, MVP. Fights with MVP between Mahomes, Allen, and him. These 3 quarterbacks are the 3 quarterbacks that have played 1 MVPs before. And any of one of them, I think, can win AFC MVP again. Unless Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh has something to say about it. But the Bills, for the Ravens, I think they're just like the Chiefs and Bills. One of those teams that could finish 1, 2, or 3. A few years ago, I said this about the Bengals, Chiefs, and Bills. And the Bengals disappointed me, unfortunately. So that's just how it went. A few years ago, for my end, picking the Bengals to finish in the top 3 and saying they could be 1, 2, or 3, just like the Chiefs and Bills. But hopefully this doesn't backfire on me, I do think the Ravens could be with the Chiefs or Bills 1, 2, or 3, just like the top 2 teams. And I think the AFC is going to be like that for a few more years overall. And I think that's how Lamar Jackson does. Lamar Jackson is a very good quarterback. He can play well. He can do things he needs to do to win games. And that's how he's done things in the past. I do think this year could be the Ravens' year. They get to the AFC title game, maybe win it, as long as one of the other 2 teams don't win it. But like I said, 1, 2, or 3 for the top 3 teams can be any position, I think, overall. Next up, we're going to go with the team that was the number 4 seed over the last few years. The Houston Texans. Houston Texans, they're one of those teams, looking at them overall. They have a young team. They used interesting players last year at quarterback. But they're also one of those teams in Houston is, my question about Houston is, they keep making the postseason. They keep winning games under multiple different head coaches over the last 10 years or so. They've been the team in the AFC South that has maintained consistency year in and year out over the last 10 or so years. but they just haven't found that right coach that coaches their team to win a playoff game or make it deep enough to the AFC title game. They've come close a few times, but haven't found the right head coach to lead them. Overall, I think the Houston Texans could be one of those teams that can surprise people as number 4 seed. Overall, is that a good thing? Yes. Is it a bad thing if they don't surprise people? Yes, indeed. So both ways are good and bad, potentially. But the Ravens, I have them as a number 4 seed because I don't think they're weak, just like the top 3 teams in the AFC. I think they're bottom feeder in the AFC, out of the bottom 4 teams that make the playoffs, and maybe one of the weakest division winners like they have been in the past. They just find interesting ways to do it in that AFC South. AFC South to division winners over the last 10 years. There have been multiple losing records, under 7 wins, just about 7 wins at least in the last 10 years, a few times at least. But the Houston Texans, I don't think they're going to compete with the Ravens, Bills, and Chiefs for the top seed. If they do, that'd be surprising. But give me the Ravens at number 4 at this moment. Next up, we're going back to the AFC North, though. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, Aaron Rodgers, his last hurrah, whatever you want to call it, for the Steelers. A quarterback who's won MVP before, a quarterback who's won a Super Bowl. Going to somewhere where the Steelers have had winning records ever since the early 2000s. Under their head coach currently, Mike Tomlin, they've never had a losing record. Could the Steelers be one of those teams with Aaron Rodgers if he plays well and gets a playoff spot as a wild card team? Could they potentially upset the Ravens, get a division? Yes, I think so, but I don't think they're going to do that because I think the Ravens and Steelers, they could compete against each other though this year. I think it's going to be a close call. If the Steelers end up getting a number 3 seed, it's going to backfire on my pick and hurt me because I did say the Ravens could be like the Bills and Chiefs as number 1, 2, or 3. If that does happen and the Steelers hurt me by beating the Ravens out, I'm just going to have to live with that. But overall, Steelers are the one team I think that could win a number 5 spot. Maybe be a play spoiler alert for anybody in the AFC with Aaron Rodgers. We'll just have to wait and see. Plus the running back position, that's going to be interesting to see as well. Wide receivers. The Steelers defense, it's going to be interesting to see. They have a good defense. But give me the Steelers as a number 5 seed at the moment. Next up, my number 6 seed. I'm going to Mile High City, one of my other favorite teams, even though Peyton Manning's not the quarterback there. The Denver Broncos. Bo Nix in year number 2 for him, I believe, for the Broncos. And do I think the Broncos can end up where they were last year and make the playoffs? Yes. Do I think they make it back to the playoffs? Yes. Do I think Bo Nix learns something in year number 2? Of course I do think it's a learning experience for a quarterback like this in Bo Nix. I think he's going to have to do something interesting to be a quarterback that wins. And personally, the Broncos, they can be one of those teams this year, just like the Steelers. They can wreak havoc against Kansas City. This is the one year I do think the Kansas City Chiefs could lose potentially at least one game to every team in their division, at least. If there's a team they beat twice, it could be any of them as well. But for the Broncos, I think they're a team just like the rest of the AFC South. The AFC West, I think the whole AFC West is going to be a division where at least everyone gets a win against each other this year, which I do think could happen. And this is why I think the Broncos could be a number 6 seed, making it to the playoffs. So give the Broncos at number 6 at the moment. Last but not least, the 7 seed. Going back to the AFC North. So a quarterback I talked about earlier. Joe Burrow, the Bengals. The one team I think that needs to make a comeback. And I predicted them to make the playoffs from last year, I believe. If I am correct, I think it did. Overall, the Bengals are one of those teams with Joe Burrow, I think. He's going to have weapons around him at wide receiver. I think the one thing the Bengals do need to do is keep Joe Burrow healthy. He was injured a few years ago. Didn't do well. Last year, the Bengals didn't do well at all, finishing 3rd. But I do think the Bengals need to play a little bit better this season if Joe Burrow is going to be healthy. Keep him healthy as a quarterback. Make sure they can stay healthy. Made it the Super Bowl a few years back, about 4 years ago. Lost to the Rams in a close game. But I do think the Bengals, Joe Burrow, I think this year could be the final window for the Bengals and Joe Burrow to make it to the Super Bowl and win with the players they currently have. Do I think they make it in as a 7 seed? Yes. Do I think they have a chance as a 7 seed to upset people? Possibly, possibly not. I do think the Steelers are going to be ahead of them. I do think the Steelers and Bengals and Ravens, this whole division in the AFC North, just like the AFC West, it's one of the divisions where no matter what happens, there's a few teams that always beat each other multiple times and a few teams that lose to each other. So that's what I have to say overall as a fan right now. But the Bengals, I do think, make it and do some interesting things in the 2025 season. So I'll give me the Bengals at 7 at the moment. If you enjoyed today's video, there you go, all 7 teams right there in order. If you did like today's video, please remember to watch, like, subscribe. Don't forget to tell your friends to do the same if they're not done so already. And with that being said, have a good day, stay safe, and peace out. Comment below who you think will make the playoffs this year. If your favorite team is in that I predicted in the last 2 days. Comment below who you think. That being said, have a good day, stay safe, and peace out. I'll see you right back here next Tuesday, Week 1 NFL predictions. See you, everyone. Bye for now, and stay safe. Bye.